Please rise for invocation by Pastor Roxanne Dwyer of Relevant Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear God, we come to you today in prayer as the City Council meeting begins today. We thank you for this city, for the elected officials, the businesses, the churches, the families, and the individuals that make this city a great place. Thank you for your many blessings and for the privilege of being able to serve the community. We ask that you bring peace and help us to act today with character and conviction. Help us listen with understanding and with goodwill, and give us wisdom and guidance to do what is right and just for every person in this city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Grubbs.
Here.
Councilman Bastian.
Here.
Councilman Stiltner.
Here.
Vice Mayor Foley.
Here.
Mayor Burnett.
Here. We have 5 people here for definitely have a quorum. It's nice to have all 5 seats filled so that we can conduct business the way we should be doing. Recognition and proclamations. Flood Awareness Week proclamation. Whereas the city of Port Orange has experienced severe weather in the past in the form of extreme rainfall and tropical system events resulting in flooding in both coastal and riverine areas, and this flooding has caused damage and flood losses to homes and buildings in all areas, whether there are high-risk special flood hazard areas or low to moderate risk flood zones. And whereas the city of Port Orange is a voluntary participant in the National Flood Insurance Program that provides residents with the opportunity to protect themselves against flood loss through the purchase of flood insurance and reduced insurance premium rates, as well as setting higher regulatory standards to reduce the flood risk and the potential flood damage to their property. And whereas the reduction of loss of life and property damage can be achieved when the appropriate flood preparedness, control, mitigation measures are taken before a flood, and whereas public education and awareness of potential weather hazards and methods of protection are critical to the health, safety, and welfare of our residents. The Floodplain Managers Association have declared the week of March 6, 2023 as Flood and Awareness Week to promote awareness and increase knowledge of flood risk, the availability of flood insurance, flood protection methods, and how to prepare for emergencies. Now therefore I, Donald O. Burdett, Mayor of the City of Port Orange, do hereby proclaim the week of March 6th through March 12th as Flood Awareness Week in the City of Port Orange, and I further encourage the citizens of Port Orange to increase their knowledge of how to protect themselves and their property from flooding. And with the seal of the city and my signature, it is so declared on this day and in this place. Next up, the American Red Cross. LaTanya Daniel. It is American Red Cross Month proclamation, and I'm going to read this and then come down and present it to you.
Thank you.
Whereas caring for one another is at the heart of our community and exemplified by the people whom simple acts of kindness through the Red Cross provide help and hope in people's most difficult moments. Continuing the life-saving legacy of Clara Barton, who founded the organization more than 140 years ago to prevent and alleviate human suffering. And whereas every day these ordinary individuals lend a helping hand to make an extraordinary difference for their neighbors in need, whether it's providing for emergency shelter, food and comfort for families displaced by home fires and other disasters, donating life-saving blood for cancer patients, accident victims, and people with sickle cell disease and other life-threatening conditions, supporting military members and veterans, along with their families and caregivers through the unique challenges of service, using vital skills, like first aid and CPR to help others survive medical emergencies, or delivering international humanitarian aid and reconnecting loved ones separated by crises around the world. And whereas their support, volunteerism, and generous donations are critical to our community's resilience, we recognize this month of March in honor of all those who fulfill Clara Barton's noble words: you must never think of anything except the need and how to meet it, and ask everyone to join in this commitment. Now therefore I, Donald O. Burnett, by virtue and the authority vested in me by the laws of the City of Port Orange, proclaim the month of March 2023 as American Red Cross Month, and encourage all citizens to reach and support this organization and others like it and its noble humanitarian mission. And with the seal of the seal of the city and my signature, it is so declared in this day and in this place. And let me just add one more thing. Never, ever, ever doubt that ordinary people can do extraordinary things, because the Red Cross is an example of that every day.
Thank you. It's our pleasure and mission to serve your community and the United States. Thank you. Thank you.
At this point, we will adjourn the, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, not, adjourn would be the wrong word. Recess. That was a mistake. I readily admit. Recess council so that we can call the Town Center CRA joint council meeting to session. And if the CRA members would join us on the dais. I'll call the special joint meeting of the Port Orange Town Center Community Center Redevelopment Agency and the Port Orange City Council to order. Will the clerk call the roll for the town center?
Michael Benedict,
Present.
Donald Burnett,
Present?
Drew Bastian,
Present.
Scott Stiltner,
Present.
Reed Foley,
Present.
Tracy Grubbs,
Present.
And will you call the roll for the city council?
Councilman Grubbs,
Present.
Councilman Bastian,
Present.
Councilman Stiltner,
Present.
Vice Mayor Foley,
Present.
Mayor Burnett.
We are here. Do I have an objection to the notice of meeting? Hearing no objection, the notice is accepted. Item 4A is election of chairman. Do I have a nomination for the position of chairman for the CRA?
I'd like to nominate Vice Mayor Foley.
I second.
Do I hear any other nominations?
Scott.
Do I hear any other nominations? Do I hear no other nominations? No other nominations,
sir.
Nominations are now closed. All in favor for appointing Vice Mayor Foley as chairman of the CRA, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have a chairman. Do I have a nomination for the vice chairman?
I nominate Councilman Stiltner.
I'll second.
I like that. Draft them quick. Do I have any other nominations? Hearing none, may I have a nomination for the vice chairman for Councilman Scott Stiltner. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Naysayers, same sign. Didn't think there'd be any naysayers. We have a chairman, we have a vice chairman. We are here tonight to consider approval of the First Amendment to the contract for sale and purchase of real property for the property located in Riverwalk area just south of the Fish Restaurant development and north of Dunlawton that is owned by the City of Port Orange and the Port Orange Town Center CRA. I want to advise that the City Council will vote on whether to approve the First Amendment, and the CRA chairman will call for consideration of the same on behalf of the CRA. Item C4, approval of the First Amendment to the contract sale of Riverwalk. This item is now open for discussion. Wayne, who do we have presenting on this one?
Community Development Director Tim Berman will present this.
Thank you, Tim Berman. As indicated in the report, basically the Bristol Development has requested a one-year extension for the on the contract for getting site plan approval and closing on the property. That would basically extend the time frame out to next spring, 2024, for those items to be completed. Over the past year, Bristol has been working diligently on the project and has completed a number of tasks necessary to move that project along. We highlighted those in the staff report, but just want to kind of bring those up here just to show you. A lot of the work that's been done is necessary and is typical for a project of this size. Here is basically about 26 items that have been completed over the past year. A lot of them basically, I say, are typical, some not typical, such as the acquisition of land. That was very important for those properties that were acquired, are adjacent to the property, which have allowed them to basically improve upon that project that you saw back in December of 2022. This has allowed for them to add the public park along the Halifax, also increased the amount of square footage of commercial, and basically overall development project improvements then. So staff is recommending approval of the 1-year extension in the contract then. And the representative from Bristol is here if you have any further questions for him.
Oh, I'm sure we'll find a reason to question them. Let's start with staff. Does anyone up here have questions for staff? There being none, why don't we hear from the apparently a very busy applicant himself. And who are you, sir? I'll wait till you get to the microphone.
I am Charles Carlisle with Bristol Development Group in Franklin, Tennessee. And so thank you very much for allowing me to be here with you. I'll keep this brief and let you all ask questions, which may be the best way to do this. But I don't think any of us could have predicted in December 2021, when we were all here, how long it would take to do some of the things that we've had to do. Assembling basic site information, for example, was something that, because everyone in our industry is so busy, it took about 4 months for just basic surveys and things like that to be completed so that we could start design work in earnest. The longest lead time were the efforts we made in assembling some of the 6 out parcels that the city didn't control, 2 of which were critical to what we felt like would be the most appropriate way to approach the master plan of the site, and which are reflected in the plans that we have today. And then we've also had headwinds that none of us probably predicted. The Federal Reserve Bank raising interest rates starting in the summer of this last year has turned the financing markets topsy-turvy, and then the insurance markets have been wreaking havoc with premiums since the storms this summer. So some headwinds, but we've made a lot of progress. We continue to make a lot of progress. We have a very dedicated team of design professionals, construction people, attorneys, our team working on this tirelessly. And I think if that just lets you stay, happy to answer where we've been, where we are today, where we're going, but appreciate your consideration of this amendment.
Okay. And from what I've seen and from that list that Tim presented, even though that we haven't got to the closing date that we're all anticipating, you guys have been very busy, and you already got significant skin in the game.
We have a lot of skin in the game, what they call sweat equity, our time and efforts, and real equity.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Let's, why don't we start, Reed, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. I appreciate all the progress you guys are making. You know, you're not coming with a blank sheet of paper and say we need another year. You're saying, hey, we've done all this. To me, that shows good faith and that you guys are working and operating. And I know what you're trying to accomplish. I think ultimately it's going to be great for the city when it's said and done. So, you know, I think what you're asking for from us is a vote of confidence that it's going to continue to move the way it's been moving, and I feel very confident in that. So.
Thank you.
Tracy, what you got?
Well, today I had some time to actually see what you guys had done beforehand, so being caught back up to speed on the project, and it was nice to see after over 20 years of vision coming, and it's bright, it's looking great. So I was very pleased with the things that you answered to me earlier, but also to see what the final process could be. Okay.
Mike?
No real questions. I mean, I always worry, is a year enough because of the amount of things that are required. I mean, I deal with it on a smaller scale with our development projects, and it's at least double the time it used to have, and it's twice the amount of money, and it's half the available capital that you used to have to do it. So, you know, it's, I mean, the checklist that was in the documents and it was sent out to us is quite a bit of work. And then, so I just want to make sure we give you the proper amount of time, that there's not to extend this out forever, obviously, that's foolish for anybody, but to make sure that we have a realistic timeline that you feel very confident in, so then we can in turn to Commissioner Foley or Vice Mayor Foley's comments, that we can expose that confidence back. And that's all. I just want to make sure we're doing the right thing to give the proper development of the project. I mean, acquiring this was it 6, right? 6 additional and so
And
that,
2 we're still working
Yeah.
on.
so that's a substantial amount of work to be done in that period of time. So you definitely have done the work. So we appreciate that. I know everybody here appreciates that. Just want to make sure we give you the proper amount of time to do it correct and build the vision we all voted on, the city saw, and everybody's excited about.
I appreciate that. We've worked hard to try to come up with a realistic schedule that, you know, it anticipates that things may take a little bit longer than they could. So that's why the government approvals are moved out to December. With any luck, we'll finish those earlier. And the closing in March is realistic. The building you see is the largest building, the one that is the longest lead time to design. Also, it will take longest to construct. And we're well along into the construction drawings of that, which will finish in late October. And then the other elements of this are now underway: the civil design, landscape, hardscape, things like that for the park, and some of the other buildings. Still have a few moving pieces. You know, there's always unanticipated things that happen, but I think it's a realistic schedule based on everything we know today.
Good.
Yeah, good.
Drew?
Yeah, no questions. I mean, you guys have proven to be diligent in this. A couple dozen things that are accomplished, and you're not turning dirt yet, but all these things that you're doing behind the scenes that nobody sees are all necessary to get to the point where you can start turning dirt. So, yeah, I don't have an issue with this because you have done a lot of work on it, and you continue to work, and we're going to get there. And you really couldn't have predicted when you started. You gave a timeline, but you couldn't have predicted any problems on all these things that come up. So just keep chipping away at it and keep going, because we're so looking forward to this.
We are too.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be.
It's a
awesome,
pleasure to
yeah.
work on this
This is gonna be
because of
outstanding.
you all and Wayne and Tim, the people we get to work with, our design team. Everybody is this is something everybody gets excited about.
Yeah.
Excellent. Scott?
Charles, thanks for coming tonight. And if you can't recall right off the top of your head, it's okay, but do you remember what the initial investment Bristol pitched with the project the way it was, not acquiring any other properties, that value versus where you guys are today, roughly, ballparking?
Yeah, I think we were estimating back then about $90 million, and of course that was with the benefit of very little solid information. Right now we're somewhere in the $200 million budget, and with construction prices going the way they are, we're trying to keep it as close to that as we can.
Sure.
The reason I put you on the spot with that, and I kind of knew that's what the numbers were, but we have tried as a council, especially in the last few years, to really hold tight to timelines and agreements, because historically that's been a thorn in the side of the community and things like that. The reason I bring that to is I just want to say publicly that I have never had the experience of watching a company like Bristol methodically go through this, the team you have assembled, the unique look that you've given us to see what is going on literally behind the scenes, so to speak, that we don't really get to see all of the time, and keeping us up to date so well. I mean, the amount of information and updates, it's been a lot, and and I'm grateful for it, by the way, because for me to support this tonight, that's what I would want to see, and I can see how much this project has grown. I can visualize the impact and the value to our city as a whole, not just that region of the city, but as a whole. I know the hype and the interest in the community, man, there are so many people wishing they could snap the fingers and this was done tomorrow. But I've seen the work and I know where you guys are going and I've seen the commitment and I've seen the skin in the game, Sweat Equity and other, and so I appreciate that. I also appreciate that you guys have brought us a timeline that you're confident in so that we can be confident to the folks we have to be accountable for to say they can get this done. And we know the kind of organization that Bristol Development is, and we know that you can get this done. And so, again, thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. I just wanted to put some of those comments on the record because when we do extend timelines and things like that, I don't think it should just be, well, they didn't do their job, they didn't get it done. In this particular case, this is a completely different project. It is an exponentially better project for the entire area in our city, and so I think that's important for folks to know. And there's a lot of work, and it's very hard to dissect all of it and what it really means. And I appreciate Michael's comments because he's kind of from that industry, and so, but not all everybody is in the community. They don't see what all has to go on to pull this off. And I know even some of the property acquisition hurdles have been challenging, but you guys have handled that in an incredibly good way, and so I'm proud of that as well. So.
Thank you.
It was an expression that I heard a long time ago. I've done so much with so little for so long. Now I feel like I'm qualified to do anything with nothing. This is going to be this is not nothing. This is definitely not nothing. Charles, I wanted to just make one other emphasis. Everybody up here has hit on it a little bit. This is not only a huge deal for Port Orange, it's a tremendous impact for the entire area. And I just want to express my appreciation for County Councilman Matt Reinhardt for being here and showing an interest in this because this is his council district and he recognizes that. And Matt, I just want to thank you for being here. Charles, I want to thank you for taking the time, and I am looking forward to it. I know it won't be done by the time I'm out of office, but I'm looking forward to at least turning some dirt.
Yeah, absolutely, and a permanent invitation to come back.
Hey, sooner is always better than later, but it's more important to get it done right.
Absolutely.
Charles, I'm guessing there's a question on a few people's minds if they're watching that these renderings that are on that presentation are how accurate are those today to where you're heading? Or I know anybody who sees those is going to ask that question. So.
These are the real exterior designs of the apartment building with the retail wing that comes out of the parking garage. The only thing on there, probably shouldn't go into this much disclosure, but the little colorful I guess
glass awning.
Yeah. I asked the architect when they showed us this has only been a couple of weeks ago, by the way, that this all came out. I said, what's that made of? And they're like, well, we're not sure yet. So put that as like a little,
we'll hold you to that
to
one.
be determined. But
I'm not going to hold you to any of them, but I know some people will be watching this.
No,
and
but
they'll
everything
be,
else
Absolutely.
is
they'll be wanting to
everything
know
else
how
is a
much
very
this will be.
achievable kind of look. Good question.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else? Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
Good. At this point, would anyone here from the public care to comment?
Mayor, council members, Robert Reinhagen, 1425 Dexter Drive. My question is a matter of concern with regard to when they actually take possession of the property. My understanding is that this extends for a year, the length of time that they actually commit to owning the property. So it gives them an out. In other words, up until then, they can just walk away. And is that correct? That they don't take actual possession of the property until this time frame is up? Thank you.
Which is why I think it's significant that we've noted that they've got significant skin in the game, not only from Sweat Equity, but to real equity. It would be a heck of a thing for that to happen. Any other comments?
Nope.
There being none, I would ask that Chairman Foley request a motion and call the vote for
All
the
right.
on behalf of the CRA.
All right, so can I get a motion by someone from the CRA on item C4 to approve the First Amendment to the contract for the sale of Riverwalk property to Bristol Development Group LLC and authorize chairman to execute all necessary documents.
Move to approve the approval of the First Amendment to the contract of the sale of the Riverwalk property to Bristol Development Group LLC and authorize the chairman to execute all necessary documents.
Second, anyone?
I'll second it.
All right, second from Bastian. All right, will the clerk call the roll?
For the CRA.
Michael Benedict,
Yes.
Donald Burnett,
Yes.
Drew Bastian,
Yes.
Scott Stiltner,
Yes.
Reed Foley,
Yes.
Tracy Grubbs.
Yes.
All right, Mayor.
And what's your vote tally? You want to announce it?
Oh, that's right. Let's see here, 6-0.
Very
How
good.
about that?
With that, on behalf of the City Council, I need a motion to approve the First Amendment of the contract for sale of Riverwalk property to Bristol Development Group LLC, authorizing myself and the city clerk to sign all necessary documents.
Move to approve the First Amendment to the contract for the sale of Riverwalk property to Bristol Development Group LLC and authorize mayor and city clerk to sign all necessary documents.
I'll second.
We have a motion, proper second. The item is open, on the floor, and ready for a vote. Will the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Grubbs,
Yes.
Councilman Bastian,
Yes.
Councilman Stiltner,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Foley.
Yes.
Mayor Burnett.
Yes, 5-0. On to the next step. Charles, thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
I'm sure. Any other further business to be brought before the members of the Town Center Redevelopment Agency in this council in this joint meeting? There being none, I will entertain a motion for this joint special meeting to be adjourned.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No naysayers? With that, we'll move on and back to the council. Public comments on consent agenda items. Would anyone care to comment on any items that are on consent? There being none, I need a motion for the approval. I think there are a couple items the attorney requested 9D be pulled.
Mayor, make a motion to pull 9B, D, and E.
Well, you can do that, or just approve the agenda, motion to approve the agenda, pulling those items from consent.
So moved.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The agenda for the evening is approved, B, D, and E on item 9 being removed from consent. May I have approval for the remainder of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to approve items 8, 9A, 9C, 9F, 10, 11, and 12. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The remainder of the consent agenda is approved, 5-0. 9B, Scott, what have you got for us?
So the reason I wanted to pull this one is just for some discussion, and maybe Wayne can even kind of button up some math on this. So this is a major, major purchase. So one of the things that I guess I'm wrestling with is purchasing a generator that's already 14 years, well, no more than that, old, that seems to hold a value of almost 90% of the cost of a new one. From, well, probably even more than that. It almost seems like it gained value from what it would have been, what it would have cost in 2007. Anyhow, so the discussion is, I guess, do you purchase something from 2007, even though it's going to have some warranty for that amount of money? And I have a question on the money figure because I want to make sure I'm understanding it right, versus continue to rent, understanding that's a cost, and purchasing something that's going to be brand new for what seems not, 20% more. And apparently the lifespan on this is about 25 years. So
We can't get a brand new generator for 1.5 to 2 years, and we need a generator now. So we have to rent something in the interim. So there's not an option to buy a brand new generator. So there's got to be a rental. So in the end, the rental cost of the one we have over that time frame is greater than the cost of, by the time we buy and then resell, it will cost the city less money to own it and resell it than it will to continue renting. So that was just looking at the two numbers, it was the less expensive route going forward, knowing the extensive lead time of getting a brand new generator. I think there was a question is, is there a newer one on the market that might be a little bit newer and cost maybe a little bit more? I don't think we were able to find another generator. If that's wrong, then they'll let me know. So we couldn't find another one out there besides this one we're currently renting. So just given the dollar amounts between now and when we believe the new generator will be ready, it was cheaper to purchase it and resell it than it was to continue renting.
I don't know the best answer to this, honestly, Wayne. I think, I guess what I'm wrestling with is buying this now, and by the time that 4 years of warranty elapses, that system now is 20 years old.
We won't have it in 4 years. We'll have the new generator in place and we will have resold it. We won't have it at the end of its warranty. It's only going to take 2 years to get the new
Okay,
generator.
all right, that makes sense now. Thanks, I got you now. I'm following you. I was kind of having a hard time.
Helps when you have the full timeline.
It does, yep, and I was struggling to kind of follow some of this timeline and the rental and the cost and stuff like that. I'm following you now. It makes sense what you're saying now. So, is there any way to really anticipate what the value? I'm impressed with, I guess, how much the value holds on these things.
Apparently very hard to find.
Yeah, and apparently really hard to find too.
We will
So,
continue to do that when it's our turn to sell it.
got it. Okay, that's all
Take
I
care of
got.
that beast. Any other comments on this? May I have a motion to approve item 9B?
So
To
moved.
approve. Yep. You're good. Second.
We have a motion from Councilman Stiltner and a second from Vice Mayor Foley to approve item 9B. Call the roll.
Councilman Grubbs,
Yes.
Councilman Bastian,
Yes.
Councilman Stiltner,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Foley,
Yes.
Mayor Burnett.
Yes, 5-0. Item 9D, the attorney, Matt Jones, asked me to pull 9D from consent. Matt, you want to tell us why?
Yes, Councilman Grubbs is going to announce a conflict.
So I have a conflict with 9D. My father actually works for the new Teddy Morris Group, so that has a big conflict.
Okay.
Thought you were going to say you're buying a motorcycle.
Nah.
I wish you luck with that.
Yeah.
With that, any other comments on item 9D? Being none, can I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor to approve 9D. Call the roll.
Councilman Bastian,
Yes.
Councilman Stiltner,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Foley,
Yes.
Mayor Burnett.
Yes, 4-0 with Councilman Grubbs abstaining. 9E, Scott, what you got there?
So on this one, I just wanted to see if I can get the city attorney to kind of weigh in on this state statute E-Verify requirement. Is that, Matt, is that requirement for every municipality in the state of Florida, regardless of where the funding mechanism comes from for these kind of repairs, or is it only when state dollars are tied to the projects?
No, that's for us all.
So
Regardless of
every city in the state of Florida has to accept, can only accept bids if they E-Verify qualify.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sounds
That was
like
the only
a
question I had.
level playing field.
Yep,
Okay.
sure.
Got a motion for approval for items 9E.
Move to approve, Mayor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for item 9E. Call the roll.
Councilman Grubbs,
Yes.
Councilman Bastian,
Yes.
Councilman Stiltner,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Foley,
Yes.
Mayor Burnett.
Yes, 5-0. Brings us to public participation. Did I have any? Nope. Okay. Council comments. Let's start on this side with Drew. Drew, what do you got for us this evening?
I don't have anything tonight, Mayor.
Excellent, excellent.
Perfect.
Well done. Scott,
I'm gonna echo Councilman Bastian's thoughts.
I like that one too. Reed, what you got for us tonight?
Absolutely nothing.
Wow. Tracy?
I'm holding my peace. I'm good.
What do you got, Mayor?
I did want to bring everybody's attention to keep an eye on the calendar because the Spring Brew Fest is coming up, Port Orange Community Trust, last weekend of this month. It is a very different event in the last couple of years from what people have been saying. They've modified it, but there will be a concert Saturday night. Just wanted to prepare everybody. There'll be a lot of people asking, where's the carnival? They've gone to a one carnival event, just the big fall one. So, but I wanted to get the word out on that, and that Port Orange Community Trust has worked very hard on this event, and wanted to make sure you all had it on your calendars, and that we're looking forward to it. That's all I have tonight. I'm easy too. Brings us to the public hearing portion of the meeting. Item 14 is the second reading of ordinance number 2023-21. Ordinance number 2023-01, I should say, is an ordinance of the City of Port Orange, Volusia County, Florida, rezoning property consisting of approximately plus or minus 2.1 acres, generally located at 662 Herbert Street from two-family residential to single-family residential, authorizing the revision of the official zoning atlas and providing for an effective date.
Move to approve ordinance 2023-01.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a proper second. Thank you, Drew, for making us with a dramatic pause. The item is open and on the floor for discussion. Second reading, council, any comments or questions of staff? There being none, would anyone here care to speak to the item? There being none, back to us, council. Final comments. There being none, call the roll.
Councilman Grubbs,
Yes.
Councilman Bastian,
Yes.
Councilman Stiltner,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Foley,
Yes.
Mayor Burnett.
Yes, 5-0. Item 15 is approval of the Madeline Commons final subdivision plat and plans. The recommended motions to approve the Commons final subdivision plat and plans as presented. May I have such motion?
Move to approve item 15.
I'll second.
Drew, you going good with the dramatic pauses over there, although that one is long. The item is open and on the floor for discussion. Wayne, who do we have here tonight?
Penelope Cruz Planning. Good evening. The applicant is requesting approval of the Madeline Commons subdivision plat and plans to subdivide approximately 35 acres into 149 single-family lots with tracts for tree preservation, stormwater retention, and open space. If the council recalls, back in October 2021, we were before you with the zoning document, the Madeline Commons PUD, that was approved at that time, and that provided the framework for the development of this subdivision. As a reminder, a review of a subdivision plat is a ministerial review in that the approving body must only consider the technical criteria of the Madeline Commons PUD and the Land Development Code. The plat and the subdivision plans have been designed according to the requirements of the Madeline Commons PUD and the Land Development Code. The subdivision maintains the same lot and street layout and number of lots in the approved PUD concept plan. The subdivision will have access from McDonald Road, Charles Street, 5th Street, and the following subdivision improvements will be constructed. Pavement resurfacing of 5th Street and piping of the open section of the open ditch along the west side of 5th Street. A roundabout at the intersection of McDonald Road and the subdivision entrance at Commons Way. A dedicated right turn lane along Charles Street into the Sugar Mill Elementary School parent drop-off driveway. 50-foot wide lots along 5th Street and 40-foot wide lots internal to the subdivision per the concept plan. Public streets within the subdivision and 5-foot sidewalks. Stormwater drainage infrastructure, water sewer irrigation infrastructure. 20-foot wide landscape buffer along Charles Street and McDonald's Road. 10-foot wide landscape buffer along the north boundary of the subdivision and adjacent to the school property. Open space and common areas with tree conservation easements for the preservation of trees, including 80% of all specimen trees on site being preserved per code, including all 3 historic live oaks, and 16% overall tree preservation, which is above code minimums. 6-foot tall privacy fence between the PUD property and the school property as requested by the Volusia County School District, in compliance with all city, county, state, and federal regulations. Public facilities and services are currently available to serve the proposed subdivision and to meet concurrency requirements. And the proposed subdivision is consistent with the comprehensive plan. The Staff Development Review Committee has reviewed and approved the subdivision plat and plans for Madeline Commons as all technical requirements in the Madeline Commons PUD and the City LDC have been met and is in compliance with all city, county, state, and federal regulations. With that, staff is recommending approval, and the development team is here to answer any questions you may have.
And Penny, just reiterate that part again about our ministerial duty and why.
Correct. So basically there's kind of 3 levels of review that we have. We have legislative reviews, which are anytime someone's requesting to change future land use. We've got quasi-judicial reviews, which are like PUD rezonings, things like that. And then we've got ministerial reviews where if the subdivision plat, such as the subdivision plat and plans, if it is designed per the land development code requirements, and in this case, the zoning document, the legal document, the master development agreement, our responsibility as the approving body is to approve the plat and plans if it meets those technical requirements. And the Staff Development Review Committee has reviewed it and has stated that it has met all those requirements.
So this is the technical review
Yes.
because much to my angst before, we've already approved the PUD.
Correct.
Okay. Council questions. Drew, we'll start with you.
No, we hashed this out pretty clearly going through it, and this is, again, all the, like I said, the ministerial review and the approval of, what's required to move forward, so I'm good to go.
Okay. Reed, comments, questions?
Good.
No, again, I understand what we're doing here, so I don't really have any comments. I think I said everything I want to say when we hashed this out when it came before us as PUD. So.
Scott, you got anything?
Penny, do we have any other, I'm just curious, any other subdivisions or projects where they only have 40-foot wide lots?
Yeah, we've got that in.
I hate to put you on the spot.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just-
believe we've got that in Woodhaven, and I think out in the planned community, there's a provision for that in that
Okay.
zoning document.
Got it.
Mhm.
Good.
That's it.
Tracy, what you got?
I'm good.
Okay. And for my part, like I said, I wasn't overjoyed about the PUD, but this is a ministerial function, and we are only evaluating the technical side of it. Doesn't mean I have to like it, but I also recognize, well, I'll save some for my final comments, but would anyone here from the public here to speak to the item?
Just as a citizen, last time I was before you was in 2017 as a citizen.
Do me a favor, tell us who you are.
Eric Gill,
Thank you.
5848 Hensel Road.
Thank you.
And I sided with Lance Green, who was the dissenting vote at the planning commission level. I don't live anywhere near this, but the problem is, I live in Port Orange, I love this place, I plan on dying here, but traffic on Dunlawton is a nightmare. And if you add more traffic because of increased density, it takes me, I don't even take Dunlawton from Ridgewood Avenue where my office is to go to 95 because it takes, from 3 o'clock on, it takes on the average 25 minutes just to go there. So I have to take a long circuitous way around. And, Lance Green said it best in his dissent. He said, we have 40-foot lots, we have 50-foot lots. So we're putting a lot of cars on streets in a very busy area. I would have liked to have seen this thing with bigger lots where the city provides less service. And, I had a good friend of mine from Tennessee, and that's how they say Tennessee. And he offered one of those country aphorisms, which I think was really accurate, which is, if it's stupid and it works, it ain't stupid. But then he had a corollary to that. And he said, well, Eric, if something don't work, he said, either the people who designed it did something dumb, or the people who installed it did something dumb. So I'm looking at Dunlawton, which doesn't work. So at this point, there's a bigger picture here. At what point, and I'm thinking 150, it's 150 lots here or there. I'm fumbling around in here for a reason. Bear with me. I feel like a senior citizen that can't find his glasses. All these pennies, they have quite a bit of weight, 150 pennies. This is 3 rolls. And a couple of cars here or there with each lot, each household. At what point do you draw the line and say, well, we need to fix Dunlawton first? 2017, when I was here last time, again, as a citizen, there was talk about intelligent traffic lights, and no intelligent traffic lights in the world can fix the fact that my last attempt to go onto Dunlawton was to try to scoot all the way around from Ridgewood Avenue take Nova Road to Spruce Creek to Taylor Road to Yorktown Boulevard, but the problem is Yorktown Boulevard, to make a left onto Dunlawton, the left turn, 2 lanes for left turn, they're 2 blocks long and they're backed up another 2 blocks. And it took another 7-minute traffic cycle. So Dunlawton's the problem, and everything you do unfortunately impacts that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I managed just under the wire, which I didn't think 7 years ago. Thank you.
Pulling the change out and everything.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else? Council, do we need to hear from the developer? Do you have any questions from them? Do you have any final comments or questions?
No, I just a quick comment to the residents' comments is that I appreciate your concerns. I think they're extremely valid, and I hope you will assist us in advocating the state who owns Dunlawton and controls Dunlawton and controls the design and the implementation of every single thing that connects to Dunlawton to help us to continue to advocate for them to do anything and everything they can without making it worse. I will say that the lighting system that you're speaking of prior to the storms, to my surprise, absolutely was working and there was measurable improvement. You could see it. I mean, there's no question it was an improvement. I know that some of the infrastructure was damaged during the storms and it hasn't gotten back to where it was prior. But I appreciate your comments. They certainly do not fall on deaf ears. As you well know, Dunlawton's a state highway. It's owned by the state, controlled by the state, designed by the state. It's the state's. And yes, you're right. Communities, regionally speaking, as they grow, they use all of these state highways, whether it's Ponce Inlet Shores, the county areas, South Daytona, New Smyrna, Port Orange, all those things. All those residents will use all of these state highways. We had a presentation recently where I believe our residents, 81% of all of the trips made within our city are made on state and county roadways.
All miles driven.
All miles driven. So the city roads that we actually own as taxpayers in Port Orange and control, it's less than 20% of all those travel things. So anyway, I do appreciate your comments, and I hope you will help us advocate to our state partners, to always be looking to ways to improve everything they can, regionally speaking as well, not just one particular road, because that's the trick is that it's not all just about Dunlawton. You have to improve the other arteries around the east side of Volusia County in order to get some relief off of Dunlawton, and then also make improvements to these roads where we can and cannot do that. So.
And it does have regional impact beyond Port Orange.
Huge.
Dunlawton impacts Taylor, which impacts the county. Going east, we've got unincorporated area, Ponce Inlet, Daytona Beach Shores, and then going north and south on Ridgewood are adjoining cities. So, Drew, do you have anything else?
No, sir.
Reed?
I'll just say this too. I understand a lot of the frustration, concern when it comes to things like this. Right now, what we're voting on is purely technical. We're reviewing this from a technical perspective and asking ourselves, have they met all the requirements for the plating? I understand. I've had residents reach out about this project before, and I had them reach out even before it come before us tonight. I understand why. I'd remind everybody that at one point this was going to be a bunch of townhomes. It wasn't even going to be single-family homes, and residents came and stood up and said, hey, we really don't want that, and council sent it back, and the applicant took that feedback, met with residents on their own, and took that and improved on the project, and now they have this single-family set of homes that fits in with a bunch of other ones, so it better fits the area, which I think we've heard Scott talk about it a lot up here. I think all of us have, about being a good fit for the community, for the area, for the city. Ultimately, we're in the state of Florida, and the state of Florida has seriously strong property owner rights to do what they want to do with their property. I think this is a case, when I was talking with residents today who had concerns, overwhelmingly they're pretty happy with things working out the way they did, because they feel as if this is one of the cases where the developer actually listened and reduced the density that could have been there, because this could have been duplexes, this could have been townhomes, but anyway, that's irrelevant to what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about technical issues and making sure that they've crossed all the T's and dotted the I's, and staff says they have, and from what I've reviewed, it looks like it's good to go. So that's my piece on it for now.
Tracy?
So just voicing what Councilman Foley and Stiltner has already said, PUD's been under review, and we have the technical talk of reviewing this, the last point. My biggest concern, and I talked to Wayne about this, was, dealing with not just the school sitting there, but, dealing with the privacy fence and what is deemed as a privacy fence, Communities backing up to a school and your kids are there, so that's always a concern. It's nice to know that the wording of privacy actually means privacy. And that was my biggest concern of having something back up to a school, especially an elementary school. As far as the roads go and traffic, I think we're all fighting it and feeling that. And Councilman Stiltner talked about it to being 81%, and that's what we had last week in the workshop, and it was kind of mind-boggling. And opened my eyes a little bit more to know that all the major roadways inside our city is county and state. And can't stress it enough, it takes the community and everybody, not just us, to be able to stress that to state and county levels to fix some of the infrastructure problems that we have.
I had the unique experience of being in Orlando yesterday afternoon because I had to take my son for a knee surgery, and I was able to drive from here in Port Orange to his apartment near UCF in about an hour, and it took me almost the same amount of time to not go that far from his apartment to not even going all the way to downtown Orlando, the surgery center. And I'm like, sometimes it's a matter of perspectives, because I hate Dunlawton in the worst ways on some days, but yesterday I was like wishing it was when I was doing that. So perspective is a funny thing. Penny, can I get you for just a second, because I've got a couple of follow-up questions on you. Number of lots, what are we looking at now?
149.
And
Single family.
If I remember correctly, originally they were talking like 180, 190, something like
245. And most of those were townhomes. There
Yeah.
was 62 single family homes at one point with 192 townhomes.
So we've reduced the density significantly.
Yes, sir.
That I'm happy with. I'm still not fond of 40-foot wide lots, but here's my problem. No matter what we build there, in 2023, it will never ever match up to that neighborhood, because that neighborhood was built 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago. So I can say I'm not happy with that, but I also have to balance that with the fact that nothing we do there is going to perfectly match the neighborhood as is. So I have to take a look at it from, well, knowing that, how do we make this the best project we possibly can be? And I can honestly say I'm still not fond of it, but this is what we're doing, is we're examining it from a technical standpoint. Any other comments, council? There being none, thank you. Call the roll.
Councilman Grubbs,
Yes.
Councilman Bastian,
Yes.
Councilman Stiltner,
No.
Vice Mayor Foley,
Yes.
Mayor Burnett.
No. 3-2. Make it good. That closes the public hearing portion of the meeting, brings us to the regular agenda portion of the meeting. Item 16, approval lease agreement with Flag 6 Bar and Grill for food and beverage services at Cypress Head Golf Course. The recommended motions to approve the lease agreement, authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the documents, and authorize the manager to execute the optional renewal term. Can I have such motion?
Move to approve item 16.
Second.
The item is open and on the floor for discussion. Mayor, who do we, I'm the mayor. Mr. Manager, who do we have presenting on this one?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Susan Bottle, I'm the Parks and
Sorry, the last
Recreation
item got me
Director.
twisted a little.
So what we have before you tonight is in 2017, the city entered into a lease agreement with Flag Sticks for the restaurant operations at our golf course. It was up for renewal, that lease agreement this year, and Mr. Hanna contacted us to notify that he had an interested party in purchasing his part of the business and coming in and taking over the restaurant operations. So that person is Mr. John Springer. He does have experience in bars and restaurants, and he's submitted all of his qualifications, which are in your packet. He is asking, I think that we prepared for you tonight is the agreement to take over that and extend the years on the lease due to some improvements that he wants to be able to make to the site. Both Mr. Springer and Mr. Hanna are here tonight, and I'd like to bring them up and introduce you to them, and they can, of course, answer any specific questions if you'd like based on operations of the golf course.
And I just want to be clear that it is staff's recommendation to accept these terms.
Yes.
Okay. Introduce away.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and staff. I'm John Springer. I've had ties to Port Orange since 1994, 2 years before the golf course opened, and I found myself flying down here very often to play golf and visit my parents in Summertrees. I bought the unit next to them in 2010. My sister bought the unit next to my now 86-year-old father, Henry, and when she got married at Sweetwaters, if you remember Sweetwaters, in 1996, I believe, or 2006, I'm not sure, 2006. I've been playing golf for a long time. I've been in the bar business. I've helped bars and restaurants open. I do liquor license work on the side. I've built my bar and restaurant in New York from scratch, including the kitchen. And now I do that as a consultant basis. I was a bar rescue guy before there was a bar rescue guy on TV. I've known Kevin since he's been there. I'm almost a daily fixture. I play golf. I'm not very good at it, but I like to keep playing. I have a lot of friends in Cypress Head. I owned a golf villa for a while, which I sold during the pandemic to cut expenses. And I've been putting offers on house left and right in Cypress Head to get back there. I just can't seem to get one because they're a hot commodity. I have some ideas. I have big shoes to fill, but I know that the golfers are the focus, and I get that. I'm not planning on trying to make this a big wedding venue or do, $40 steaks or anything like that. It's a turnkey operation. The city's got a beautiful facility. Kevin's maintained it well. I'm keeping all of his staff. The clients like him. And we're going to continue and build on the great work that Kevin Hanna's already done. We work together great. I've been there every day for the last month, training, learning. The banquets are a little new to me. I'm a former country club advisory committee member for a private club in New York. So I've seen some of the back end stuff and the financials and how it works. And I look forward to this opportunity. I'm going to be 59 years old, and I realize I'm not ready to retire. So.
All right. Kevin, you've got something else going on too.
I'm telling you, it's been an absolute pleasure for the entire almost 5 years to the day when I leave, within 2 days, of the opportunity and the belief that the community had in what we do, and hopefully we've honored it and done it well. And when Mr. Springer offered me a amount of money a few months ago, and I told him no, this is where I'm going to be. I'm not going to deviate from it. I like what I do. I guess I really didn't want to go. And then he came back and gave me the number. Then I reluctantly had to tell Susan and the staff that I've accepted this number because that's who I am. And I wish John and his people that he brings on forward and the ones that he keeps continues to make it a bright spot in the city. It's not just for golfers. Parks and Recreation is for the visitors and all the people that live here to come and enjoy peace and prosperity. And I hope I've been a part of that.
All right, council, why don't we start this time? Tracy?
Mr. Springer, one of the questions I'd have is when you're acquiring a new business and the woes that we are in business side and all aspects is dealing with employees. You know, nobody can say yay or nay, I can keep everybody, and find anybody right now is a challenging part of your business. So I don't want to go down that pathway. I want to just ask you your vision for what you think it should be in a year and then 2 years down the road. What do you think you need to do to the business?
We're going to expand the hours. We are going to be open 8 a.m. every day, and I'm going to use that time. So during the week now, it's not open till a little later, like during the week when it's slow, but we're going to open anyway. The city, the rent is, if you remember, you had an operator that left in the middle of the night because they were having trouble.
Oh, we remember.
And then,
Yeah,
yes, you did.
well,
And the rent is nominal, and I'm going to put that money in the employees. I have profit sharing. We're going to set quarterly goals. I've already talked to staff about it. If we meet our revenue goals, if we meet our food and beverage costs, there's going to be 5% profit sharing, which will be split among the employees based on the number of hours they work during that quarter. We're going to do a grab-and-go station for the morning to facilitate the golfers and at the turn, so we can shorten the term, so there's less delay on the course. The cook is going to make pre-makes. Stop me if this doesn't answer your question, but
No, you're
if the cook is going to leave some sandwiches at night, in the morning we're going to make a number of breakfast sandwiches. I'm going to invest in a whole counter system where you can come in. There'll be house accounts, although it's a municipal course. Most of the golfers are regulars, so you can have a house account system. Just go in and check out, no problem. We'll send you an invoice. You can pay by credit card, by email, whatever you want to do. We're putting a fire pit in the back. We power washed the back patio yesterday. It was beautiful. I'm going to get quotes and ask the city to approve the installation of a fire pit. If you've been to Downwinds, it's very popular. We're going to have that. With city approval, I want to expand the bar 4 inches so it's more conducive to dining. So there's a number of things like that we want to do. We're not going to change the name. We're not going to make a big deal about it, about the transition. It's not about me. It's about continuing and building on what Kevin's has. I hope that helps answer your question.
very good. Thank you.
great question. Reed, what you got?
Well, I appreciate your interest in doing this, and especially putting, proposing to put over $35,000 in improvements into it. That community out there is really important to me. I really enjoy going out there a lot and go golfing all the time, even though they've asked me not to. Done a lot of damage to the course at this point.
Well,
but
the divots, they don't like the
yeah.
divots.
But my game's improved. I think I'm about 2 or 3 strokes better than I was
Nice.
last time. So.
On the front nine.
Yeah. The problem is I hit the turn,
Breaking 100, how about that?
Yeah, either way. I just get a little concerned about going all the way out for 5 years, personally. Not that I have an issue with extending it, because I get it, you're going to put capital in. If you don't own the building, then obviously if you're in a lease agreement, you have it for as long as that lease is good until you renew it. I just 5 years concerns me a little bit. I'd be more comfortable at 4. That's not a huge difference. But I like that you're willing to put money in to improving it. I like your ideas. I read through your plans, some of the stuff you're talking about. It all sounds like things that I would enjoy when I'm out golfing. I would enjoy stopping in with some of your additions. But that's just my thoughts. I'm open to hear what the rest of council has to say.
Can I just interrupt?
Absolutely.
Briefly, I understand that, but understand that my financial commitment is probably $35,000 is the minimum on the capital. That's on top of what I'm going to pay Kevin for the for the assets of the business that he has and taking over. I understand what you're saying. I hope you'll give me the chance to prove it. But for this to work, we could really use. I need the 5 plus the 5, and I understand that the 5-year option is at your discretion. And if you don't like the way I operate, you don't renew me, and then you can put it out to bid or whatever you want to do. So I would ask you to, if you would, please approve it as presented.
Scott?
I hope you negotiated for that shirt as part of the deal too, because I really like that shirt. I think it needs to stay out there at the course. So.
That one?
I only wore it so it'd be good on TV.
I think you should put it in the shadow box out there and Kevin handle it.
Mr. Springer, I appreciate your interest in our facility out there and in our community. I really do. I don't really have any questions for you, but Kevin, I just wanted to say to you, thank you. You stepped up and came forward when we were in a really difficult position. And we still do not want to run restaurants. That's not what city government is designed to do. It's not what we are going to be good at. We just don't want to do that. And I will let you know now that we all had a lot of stress and anxiety, so to speak, as to how's this gonna happen when you have somebody literally, like you said, walk out in the middle of the night, and you've got something that's so important to so many people out there, and man, you came through, and I just can't tell you, you yourself have been an asset to that facility out there. I've been out there many a times with events, and every time I see you, you've got a positive look on your face. Things are getting done. People are happy with what's going on. They love the facility. They love the, what the clubhouse and what's available. And you recognized it. You delivered on that. And I wish you nothing but the best. I wish you well with all your endeavors. I'm sure there will be others.
Well, we just opened up a diner in Fort Orange.
And there you go.
Yeah.
So.
I'm looking to try to do another one somewhere close to the pavilion, and hopefully continue to grow. The diners have done outstanding for me, and I love them a lot.
Yeah.
But
Do you want a partner?
So do we.
But seriously, when I came here, I told the council the day I would keep you from having a negative phone call.
Yeah, and you
And
did.
in 5 years, I had one. It was about a dog that was in my building. But other than that, I don't think anybody's ever had that negative phone call, and I feel so proud of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you.
Drew?
So, John, looking at the material and everything, I'm going to ask a question just for the public that doesn't have access to the backup material. So, I don't have any concerns. I mean, you seem qualified and will do a good job, and you have some good ideas. But marketing wise, how do you plan to market and push and maybe attract more attention to the diner moving forward?
I have a design and marketing person and social media person that I've already hired. Has actually worked for Kevin in the past, and she's actually worked for my other business in the past.
Okay.
Which gives you a sense of my ties to Cypress Head. We've already designed a newsletter that's going to be initially to Cypress Head residents first. It's going to be delivered every month by the post office.
Okay.
It's 6 pages. It's going to have restaurant news. It's going to have a pro shop calendar, a restaurant calendar. It has a service directory. Ads have been pre-sold. It's going to be delivered every month. It's 9 by 13, 80-pound stock. It's full color. It's going to have HOA news. I've already met with the various HOAs in Cypress Head.
Okay.
And again, I understand that the asset is not just for Cypress Head, but we're going to expand out from there. So we're going to go local, and expand out to the other neighborhoods, the Sanctuary, and various places. So that's another thing. My background is journalism. I was a journalist for 25 years.
Oh, okay.
Your former police chief, Tom Grimaldi, I met him in Bristol, Connecticut in 1994 when he was a rookie patrolman, and I was a rookie newspaper reporter for the Hartford, Connecticut Current.
Nice.
So I have that background. I've owned an online newspaper. In addition to the restaurant and bar I owned a newsstand that was written up in the New York Times. I was starting a newsstand when newsstands were dying. So I am an entrepreneur. I know how to market, and that's a big part of it. Kevin, to his credit, he's built some beautiful restaurants and a great following. I'm not gonna own another restaurant, and I wasn't really looking to get back into an operational thing. But I love this golf course. I love this community. It's not late hours. You know, it's done by 8 o'clock at night, and it fits in with my lifestyle at this particular time. I wanted to bid on it when those people left in the middle of the night. I knew Kevin was bidding on it, and so I didn't even bother. But I've been watching, and I've been talking to Kevin almost since the day he came about. And I've always, even before we talked about me taking over, I've asked him, well, why do you do it this way? And why do you do it that way? And Kevin's going to stay on and consult for at least a year. You know, so he'll be there. He's still going to play. We'll still talk. So you know, I'll get his guidance on the banquets and things like that. And I've been training for the banquets with him and his staff. And so you asked about marketing. So we'll do a lot of marketing.
Well, good. I wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah, just one point of clarification is the 30,000 is kind of, it came in as a proposal. I just want you to know that's not something that's a requirement of the lease. That's not part of the lease. If there's any alterations or modifications to the facility itself, that would still require your approval. So those things are being proposed as these are some ideas that are being proposed, but I don't want you to think that that's like a guaranteed through the lease
No,
itself.
I
So I just wanted to make that clear.
understood that. Appreciate that clarification, and I know that Susan will be watching it. Anything else? Let's hear from the public. Anyone else want to comment on this item? There being none, back to council. Final comments or questions? There being none, call the roll.
Councilman Grubbs,
Yes.
Councilman Bastian,
Yes.
Councilman Stiltner,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Foley,
Yes.
Mayor Burnett.
Yes, 5-0.
Thank you.
Kevin, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
You still have
Mike?
to put up with me. I'm still in the
That's
executive
all right.
of the MGA, so.
Nice.
Good luck. Let us
Thank
know
you
if you
very
need
much, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, gentlemen.
additional items. City Attorney,
Nothing further tonight.
excellent report. City Manager, what you got, Wayne?
I just have one thing I want to introduce, our new Human Resources Director, Sharon Kranick. She's been in a last couple of meetings, but we've had either longer meetings or extensive things going on, so we did not have an opportunity to have her come up here, but she comes to us with extensive experience as an HR director, has been here for a couple months and has already started making improvements that are
And up
notable
front.
among staff. So we are happy to have her here, and I think that that's going to be a good thing for us going forward.
All right,
Good evening.
20 questions.
Yes.
Question 1, tell us a little about yourself and what your vision is for our HR department here in Port Orange.
Well, there's some work to be done, but we have a very good staff, very good trained staff, so I'm looking forward to some great things. I'm coming to you most recently from the city of Mount Dora. I was there for about 5.5 years as their HR director. And look forward to serving the employees and the citizens here of Port Orange.
Excellent. Council, any other questions?
That was only one.
You did so well, you
Yeah, I
probably
tell you
trimmed the
what,
list down.
well, then we will conclude this with a whole warm, hearty welcome.
Yes.
And appreciate everything that you've done so far and looking forward to the future.
Great, thank you.
Best of luck.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Welcome.
Sharon.
Thanks.
Wayne, what else you have?
Nothing else.
Excellent. Council committee reports. River to Sea TPO, Vice Mayor Reed Foley.
And a short report on this one. The only thing really that's important everyone knows is that they have moved over to the temporary location. And so they'll be holding TPO meetings at the airport now while they're looking for a new, more long-standing home. So.
Okay. Fire pension.
Yeah, this one's longer and you might want to put your listening ears on. So the good news is it was up 5.1% for the quarter. The plan did well there. I think that it was obvious, not from this meeting, but the meeting prior, that I was extremely vocal about my disappointment with the fire pension fund. Its funding ratio, the way the funds have been managed, the performance of the plan, the actuarial reports. I don't want to go on and on and on, even though I feel like I could have, and I did at that meeting. The Burgess & Burgess, who manages the money for the plan, took that apparently to heart, because this last meeting they brought a pretty thorough self-evaluation of where they felt like they probably could have done things better, could have done things differently, and how they want to do things in the future. Part of that was a 40% reduction in fees associated with them managing it. They cut it down from 15 basis points to 0.9, which is a monumental amount. Apparently they had not been adjusted in a long time, and nobody had spoken up and said anything. So that's a pretty big change. Overall, the net actuarial loss still was 17% for last year. Yeah, 4-year average return is sitting around 3%, which is not anything to get excited about. They did say part of the reason for the funding ratio is what the Actions Council has had towards salary increases. 16% salary increases on average year over year last year was one of the reasons that because as we increase salaries, then pension benefits increase just because of best years when it comes to that calculation, which the actuary was he was the one to point that out and explain it. But at the same time, something else that was noted was the city's already paid an additional $60,000 more contribution in prepay for next year or for this year. John would have to make sure I got that right. And this is the one that really hurts the most. The funding percentage fell 9% to 61% funded now. So Burgess is definitely going to be taking a few different approaches. The fee's going to help. Like I said, they were up 5.1% for the quarter, which was in line with what our other pension funds have done. I spoke with Frank again actually today. He gave me a call, and we just discussed a few things. And they understand they need to do better. They understand that our employees deserve better. Our taxpayers deserve better. And they understand that while I do have confidence that they're making adjustments and they're trying to make improvements for the plan, the leash unfortunately has shortened a lot. So we'll see what happens. I'm rooting for them, not against them, as I'm sure all of the participants in the plan are. But like I said, it's a long one because you guys really need to be aware of just exactly how neglected that plan was for years and years and years. But hopefully it will be neglected no more.
Okay. Police pension fund?
Okay, that one would be me. We just had a meeting, so prior year, as pretty much all the funds were around, it was down just over 11% net of fees. However, this year it's up 5.3% net of fees. And on December 31st, the plan was valued at nearly $52.4 million, and we've had a little bit of a uptick since then. On Friday, February 24th, it was valued at $54.1 million. So there's some slow progress there. So again, it wasn't a bustling first quarter, but 5.3% net isn't terrible. And since inception, the plan has returned, since 1995, when it was changed over to the current thing, it has returned a 6.18% net in return, pretty much in the last, that's what, 28 years. So, and the plan, they've continued to ratchet down the assumed rate of return a tenth every year, and so this year it'll be at 6.95. Next year going to 6.85 most likely, and getting closer. It's a more realistic return and a goal. So it like I said, it's performing okay, but of course, the market does better, that plan's going to do better, just like all of them.
Historically, it's had certainly a much better track record, and I think everybody knows what the economy's been like in the markets the last 18 months or so.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I think, every April we have, because they're finalizing the annual report, and so we'll have all three plans in front of us probably in April, I think, to do their yearly valuations. The annual valuations are coming up within a month.
I can't wait to see you read that night. Anything else? Nope. General Employees Pension.
That one's me. Good meeting. Zach Shalaflor was there in attendance and reviewed his audit of the plan. No major concerns at all noted with the plan, so that was good. Let's see. For the current fiscal year, the plan is up 7.3%. 4.29% in gains for end of January. As of September 30th, you go back a little ways with the market changes and everything, the plan sits right at about 81% funded, which is their unblended, what they call an unblended funding level. Financial advisors kind of talked a little bit and noted, you know, they kind of feel like maintaining a conservative and defensive position throughout the remainder of 2023 is going to be pretty important. They didn't necessarily paint a picture of, you know, doom and gloom, but a little bit of caution. They really like the plan's position in real estate, although maybe that'd be a little bit plateaued out right now. They really like sticking with that, and that's been good for us in the past. One of the things that they noted, which I like and give some comfort, is out of 436 plans nationally that they look at within this universe, meaning these pension plans, for the last 10 years, the plan is ranked out in the upper 2%, which is really a good thing. So other than that, current market value, including cash, is $38,655,659.26 for those looking for the exact penny.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Thank you for those extra 26 cents.
You got it.
Any other business come before us this evening? There being none, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Have a good night, everybody.